Hi, good afternoon, everyone. We're moving towards the end of this event. The BIM Coordinators Summit 2023 has been fantastic till now. And I'm here to talk about digitizing the facility management part, and how BIM is providing the advantage to that particular portion. So, about me, I am an architect and almost 25 years in the AEC industry. I have been implementing BIM since 16 years, since 2007. Certified project manager in BIM by RICS, and also done project management in BIM. And I represent a company called Hitech. We are based in India and over 200 people working in our company at the moment. So, talking about the building life cycles, as you know, primarily it is divided into design and planning, construction, as well as operations and maintenance. And a lot of data is generated during the first two phases, that is the design and planning and construction. What happens is during the handover phase, from this phase to the operations and maintenance, significant amount of data, that has some issues while the handover is done. And it is said that around 30% of data is lost during this stage. So that is where critically there has to be some process in place that the data is transferred properly, because that is what the owners and the operations and facility managers, they are going to utilize it further. So is there a better way to manage it? That's the question. I mean, the industry have it currently. And the answer is yes. BIM for FM is the answer to it. If we say in overall just 3 steps, then it could be defined as, that conduct the review of the facility management requirements, have a process and guidelines in place, and then keep it updating. So it sounds very, very easy, this, the 3 steps and how it could be done. But when we come on to the details, and yeah, I would also refer to the golden thread concept, that which our friends also had a detailed presentation on it just before a while. So that is also becoming a mandatory requirement, which has been started with the building safety bill by UK government for the high-rise buildings. So it is a requirement and it's also becoming mandatory. So that is what it makes it more interesting, how BIM can be utilized. Before I move on to the details, just to give you some idea about the BIM market, currently it is expected to grow at a CAGR of 13.9% from 6.8 billion to 19.5. And if we talk about the facility market, that is also going to increase at a CAGR of 12%. So these are both the industries, different ones that are increasing significantly, and they could be complementing each other. And especially real estate, healthcare, and government sectors, they're going to lead this growth in the next decade. Couple of factors which we feel, that what are going to drive. Those are, government initiatives, because the government, as I said, is initiating about making it mandates gradually. So that is going to drive it. Tourism and hospitality sector is also one of the key factors driving it. Investment in construction, though there are some challenges, there has been increase in the investment. And finally, we would say that, that regulatory and compliance requirements are also there, which is going to drive, especially related to environmental matters. Trends are going to continue as per the sustainability, data-driven decision-making, workplace automation, collaborative approach, as well as especially a better occupancy experience, because that is what now the focus is on, whether it's a commercial space, a retail, or an office space and all. So these are going to be the trends and driving factors which is making the change in the industry. If I talk about the key functions of FM, that is facility management, before that I would just like to touch upon that if you consider 100% cost of a building life cycle, 30% is what is estimated to be going towards the design and construction, that is the initial 2 phases, while 70% goes towards the operations part. So, that is also making it very, very much required also, that how you can make the operations part, which is contributing to 70% of the total building life cycle cost, more efficient, and especially from the user perspective. Key functions, if we see about FM, are operations and maintenance, repairs and renovations, space management, financial planning and budgeting, and of course, the technology integration. So these are the, especially the areas that has been identified wherein BIM can be contributing and helping make this process much smoother as compared to what it is nowadays. As I said, BIM was initially designed, or created, expected to be implemented in the design and planning phase as well as construction. Primarily in design and planning, we can get master plans or design drawings or spectral planning, those kind of things for the designers. While in construction, obviously, going on to the planning 4D, 5D, monitoring of the construction processes, and I would like to highlight the as-built model because that is definitely a model which will be having all the information against what was designed and how it has actually come up. And this is the particular phase which is required to take it further on to the facility management. That's the operations and planning or operations and maintenance of this building. So whether you have been implementing BIM phase-wise right from the initial planning and designing phase or not, if you have an accurate as-built model, it definitely is going to help further for the life cycle management part of the building, operations and maintenance. Some of the key benefits of using BIM is about centralized data management, because as you know, there has been so much of data generated throughout the processes that when it is handed over to the facility managers, it is really difficult for them to go through all the data and have, for a quick references, if they need it at one click, they probably don't have it. And also the data is on different file formats and different softwares and all. So a single place where all the data is managed, a central data management is what BIM can help with. Next thing is about the collaboration and communication that is required because there are various stakeholders who are a part of this function, and really a communication between them and an efficient collaboration is required. Maintenance planning, because there would be a defined maintenance planning, well in advance, and at the same time it would be something being informed to the occupants as well. So here as well, BIM comes into the picture. Space management and utilization. This has become more important after the COVID because as we know now, the workspaces have become either hybrid or people work from home. They come only for some meetings and all. So gradually the spaces have shrunk during this period. And any company having 100% say office space earlier now are probably working with 50 or 70% occupancy. So to manage this efficiently, it is very much required to have some system in place. Performance analysis, because you have installed all the systems, you have got all the systems in place, but the HVAC system would claim to be, at 100% efficiency, but you need to actually track where it is against what has been claimed. So here as well, BIM comes into the picture. And finally, as I said, the compliance and documentation part. So it looks very easy that you need to generate and export the data from BIM and import it into the FM software. So this is how people just say, that we have got a FM ready model. We have got all the data. It can be just exported and you can import into the facility software, whether it is CMMS or CFM. But the thing is that the exchange is not that easy. So let us go through, what is the exchange framework which should be in place or how it can work, because data transfer is a big thing. So first thing I would say, that we have got, all of us have got IFC formats, and COBie is the standard format which is being utilized throughout the building processes, construction processes. So a model can be exported as BIM, as built, as an IFC format. And if it is already a COBie compliant, then definitely we go ahead with that. There are some other parts also, IFC that could be exported as an IFC parser, and that is a kind of a Python scripting which is being done. So that includes or exports the data in the required format. As you know, SFG20, that is a standard process. The standards defined for the facility management part, which is something cannot be generated from the model because it is mainly about, jobs and resource data and all, which is not a part of the BIM. But for a facility manager, it is very much required to have this data. So again, we can club the data, combine the data from the IFC and as well as export the SFG20, and that could be combined, both of them. So that is what we get a result, COBie data extracted from SFG20 and the one from the IFC. So that would be combined together. Nowadays, as you see, the building product manufacturers, we saw that the assets, they are being digitized They have all the information about each and every building product, digital available. All the parameters are given and all. But unfortunately, I mean, still some of the manufacturers, they are in the initial phase and they probably don't have their products digitized. So what is required is to get the data from there. It could be in any format, into Excel or any other format. This also needs to be combined, and then it completes all the required information at this stage. So finally, you have a data which is combination of all those things. And that could be the final Kobe spreadsheet, which will have the combined data ready for the facility managers. Now, we hear and we heard a lot about the digital twins. I would say that, it is going to be an output of a BIM process and especially a living version of the building, because you will have a static model with all the information, but how would you keep, the actual live model, I mean, real-time information? That was one of the question. So to have a model in place, it's fine. It could be called the project digital twin, wherein you have all the data coming from the design and construction stage. You combine it with the real-time data, which has been captured, say, by IoT sensors and ML machine learning algorithms. And then it takes on to a next level, which is called the performance digital twin, which is required for the operations and maintenance part. So this is the journey where BIM takes the project digital twin to the performance digital twin. And again, there are so many different kinds of data and modality of the data, different formats and all that has to be correlated, because there's a vast amount of data being generated and the formats are also different. So the next thing comes, is that the data fusion, which is again a very big challenge, especially data generated from BIM and from the IoT sensors. So there are different ways, how they could be integrated. First thing is about conversion. You take IFC data and you convert it for IoT. It could be directly from IOC to database, or it could be a combination of metadata from IoT and IFC into an RDF format. Second portion would be about expansion or linking. So the IFC is added along with the metadata and you'd get IFC plus. That is one option. Or it could be BIM and IoT ontology communicating with each other. So these are some of the options, but the majority currently what is being used is about merging the data. So there is a data coming from the BIM model and from the IoT model. And then there's a common platform which merges both of them, and then it gives, some kind of information, dashboard kind of thing to the users and FM managers, which is really required at their end. So these are the kind of data mergers currently happening. I would like to mention about a case study. What we have been actually doing for one of our clients. It's called IFUT. That's a platform, US-based client. We are working for them for the space planning part. That is what they have been offering to their clients, and we provide the BIM models to them. What typically happens is that we get the drawings. From the drawings, the model of the office or any co-working space is created. And to that, the 3D BIM model is generated. From that, the team, they work on creating the areas and zones and that helps in defining the location of the IoT sensors. So after it has been installed, you get the real-time data from the sensors, and the users or the facility managers, they can visualize it on their computer or on their mobile phones at a one click as Power BI dashboards. So some of the outputs, or some of the information it gives is about heat map layout or about area map, or what is the space usage dashboard. So this is a live, example, a real-time example, I would say, where Hitech is helping our client to get all this information by creating the BIM models and giving the information to them. So I will quickly go through the second case study, which was a different kind of work we did. As I mentioned about the data coming from the IoT, that also needs to be checked, data validation especially. So we had one client who was giving us the data which was captured from Niagara IoT. The team used to review those data, compare it with the assets category, because just like in point cloud, we have some noise coming probably in the data from IoT also. The data needs to be checked, validated, and then incorporated. And then clean up the data, then resolve the possible issues and the validation of the data. And then finally integrate in the as I mentioned, combination of BIM data and IoT data. That was what our team was working. So these has been two examples where we have worked on this. And finally, exporting it to the database. So here, it's already time up. I would like to say that we as a company, BIM consultants, BIM service providers, we understand that BIM for facility management have the potential to both change and improve, transform and improve our industry as well as our lives, because that is ultimately the user experience that matters for any building post-occupancy. As BIM experts, we provide our services, different services, BIM, modeling and 4D, 5D, and scan to BIM and all the things, and BIM implementation as well, consultation as well, to all the stakeholders of the ACE industry. And as I said, from all the phases as well. So this is the information you can get our company, Hitech Digital Solutions. We're based in India with our offices across the globe. And I have my colleagues also, Brett and Lawrence over here, coming all the way. So thank you. Thank you all of you, and especially BIM Coordinators Summit Committee who invited us and gave this opportunity. Thanks once again.